Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on the Hagenstedt map. Let's get back to reliving the glory days. There's actually a little bit of give on the hydraulics and just the way that things naturally move around, so you can scrape a bucket along the ground. You can scrape a muck fork along the ground, that sort of thing, which you cannot do in this game very easily, and that is something, it's just that little bit of the physics I'm hoping has been tweaked enough to sort of make things look a little bit more actual, actually like it should be in real life, and make it just feel that little bit better. I'm really hoping that a bit of work has been done on that. I'm not holding my breath on it, because that, I imagine, is going to be something that will be fairly difficult to do. It's not like with the bale physics, is just a slight alteration in how the actual bales themselves work. This would require, I think, coding, well, quite literally from the ground up, because it would also require coding into the surface level of the map in order for that to work properly, I think, so that it would allow the bucket to dip down slightly to sort of maybe simulate that kind of soft little bit of give that you get on the hydraulics as you're kind of like working through on things. So I don't know how that could work out, how it could be done. It'd be interesting to see if it could be done. I would very much like to see it done, but yeah, I'm not quite sure about that. Is there anything in particular that you would like to see in this game? Is there anything in particular that you would like to be able to experience with this game? Like, well, not FS19, with FS22. Is it a particular map that you'd like to see? I've often said myself that I would like to see rice. Now, it does appear that rice isn't coming to FS22. It looks like it's going to be grapes and vineyards. So you'll be able to grow your own grapes, you'll be able to harvest the vineyards. I've already seen the messages of absolute disgust appearing across Twitter and Facebook and so on about how it's just a mod and FS22 is just FS19 with mods. There's absolutely no improvement, there's no changes. We can already do grapes and vines in this game. The only grapes and vines that I've seen so far in this game and harvesters leave a lot to be desired. If Giants are actually going to improve them dramatically and do their own versions of them, I'm all for that. I think it's going to be brilliant. I personally am quite pleased to see that they've decided to turn their attention to it. I think it could be very good. I mean, obviously, it could be very bad as well. But given Giants' past record with looking at the crops, they do seem to do a pretty good job. If they say they're going to do something, they generally do a pretty good job with it. I mean, machinery that we're driving around now, I know that I'm using a Stevie tweaked one, but it still does actually work. You know, you've got all the details on the machines, and they do look really good. I really hope that the sugarcane gets a little bit of love, because at the moment the sugarcane harvesters, they stop at the wrong point at the end of the fields. The hired help is very kind of glitchy with just getting to the ends of the rows. It still seems to struggle with that. So I'm hoping that they do a little, like there's a little bit more care and attention goes into just transferring the sugarcane aspect, because I don't do a lot of sugarcane, admittedly, but it's still another part of the game, and it's still something that a lot of people like and enjoy. It would be nice if it got a little bit of extra attention just to kind of tweak it a bit and make things run a little bit better. So I'd quite like to see that in the new version. A whole load more of that. I was actually waiting for that one to get to nearly full, and he's going to run to the end of the row before I can get over to him, isn't he? So yeah, there's a couple of different bits that I would like to see. There's a couple of extra bits. Now, they've already said that there's going to be grapes, vineyards, and grape harvesters and stuff like that. So we've already got that bit of it has already sort of been confirmed and announced, and everything else that we've seen from trailers and so on, that's easy to figure out. The way that the trailer for the game, the video trailer that was released, the way that it kind of played out, made me think that they are putting quite a lot of focus into the multiplayer aspect of the game for the new version. Like, the CGI trailer that was released emphasized a lot about working together as a team. And there was a big thing all about working together as a team, and you have the woman there doing all of the farming, and Dad was also doing the farming. Then it turned out that they were both working together, same fields, so on and so forth. Which sort of indicates quite strongly that the multiplayer aspect is something that they're really going to be giving a lot of attention to. Now, I know that for a lot of people, the multiplayer side of things is the big aspect of Farming Simulator, because you get to play the game with your friends, and you can work on these big farms with other people. So I know there's a lot of people that do really, really enjoy that. So I think that's actually quite a good thing that they're going to put this attention into the multiplayer. Quite what it's going to mean, I don't really know. I'm guessing that if they're putting in a lot more work into getting multiplayer aspects of the game up and running, I'm just going to stick this one over here for a minute. If they're sort of looking at multiplayer aspects of the game and getting those to actually work better, we've also got the whole factory things coming along. I'm assuming that they're going to do more work towards the idea of multiple farm ownership. That we've already got the multiple farms. You've got different farms that you can have and own. So you can have different players owning different fields and that. I don't do a lot of multiplayer. I've seen a bit of the multiplayer. Obviously, there's a multiplayer server that is available through our Discord. One of our moderators, Ryder, he does a regular stream on our multiplayer server every Friday afternoon, I believe it is. And so you can go on there and you can play with him on there, and the multiplayer server is open for general use for the rest of the time. Most of the time. Occasionally it is closed down. We've got Smoodelini, who is our main multiplayer server boss man, and he keeps everything sort of shipshape on there. So you got any questions, could direct them towards him or any of the moderators on the Discord that might be on. If they can't answer, they will be able to direct your inquiries towards somebody who can answer. We have a chain of command all set up, so that if we don't know, we generally can say, "Dunno, ask Smudo. He's the guy in the know." And then you wait until Smudo's online and he says, "Well, I don't know, it's nothing to do with me." And then you can walk away, safe in the knowledge that you're just as confused as you were when you started. No, it doesn't actually happen like that. Smudo is absolutely brilliant. The guy is good as gold, and he keeps everything running shipshape. So, yeah, the whole aspect of ownership and everything, like, I've already seen it in action on the multiplayer server, and I'm just assuming that there's going to be a lot more work done towards that, and the whole idea of owning multiple farms and running multiple farms, that kind of thing. That's my takeaway from that video. Now, there wasn't a lot of information other than that. We've definitely had it shown with grapes and the grape harvesting and that. That's one that we'll be able to do. They haven't mentioned anything else. And the one crop that I have wanted to see come into this game since I started playing it in FS13 is rice paddies, and having that as an option for gameplay. It doesn't look like we're having any kind of rice paddies introduced this time round. Now, there was another game, I can't even remember what it's called now. There is, there was like half a dozen other farming simulator games all released. We had Farmer's Dynasty, which was kind of one of the better ones of them, although that was definitely not finished when I was playing it. It's had some more work done to it since, but they started the game, and then the devs kind of got bored and walked away. There were legal issues as well, and they completely withdrew the game from the market for a while. Some legal challenges going on somewhere. I don't know what really happened. A lot of stuff was going on behind the scenes. And then I don't know if the game was sold or if they simply got back to work on it, but then they started doing more stuff to it. They did do some updates in that, and that game kind of mixed farming with a construction simulator. You had to go and rebuild the yard that you owned and operated and sort of worked in. Had a load of small machinery, so it was all right, that one. Like there were some definite aspects of it that were different from most of the other farming games, like you milking cows by hand rather than milking them in a machine. But a lot of the mechanics did get quite boring quite quickly. There didn't seem to be much available for increasing the scale of production very effectively, and that's where the game fell flat for me. I like a sandbox type simulator, but I want to know that I can increase things without just having to do the same action over and over 1,000 times, because that does get a bit tedious. I can increase the scale of things with this game. I can buy bigger machinery and increase the scale like that. That one, there were some increases in the scale of the machinery, but there weren't a lot. So I'm genuinely not overly thrilled with that one. There was another one, I think that one was called Pure Farming. And that one, I think it's Pure Farming, or it was something along those lines. It had rice paddies. That one actually had rice paddies. There was only particular maps. I think it was like 4 maps, and one map had rice paddies on it. But you had all the proper rice planting equipment, everything on there. And that one I quite liked. I liked the fact that we could do rice planting. I thought that was really cool. And that was something that I've been waiting for in the whole Farming Simulator series for a long time. So I was really thrilled with that game to be able to do that. A lot of the rest of that one, again, kind of fell flat. It was obviously trying to cash in on the success of Farming Simulator itself, and a lot of aspects of the gameplay in that just fell short of it. And as is the case with so many copycat simulators, like you see a game doing well, you get a whole load of copycat ones come out. Many of them just seem to fall flat, and several of these did. And the Pure Farming one, whilst it was... I'm sure it was Pure Farming. But anyway, it was fun, it was good, I did enjoy it. I didn't do that many episodes on it. It was... I can't remember right now, I probably did like 10 or 20 of them, something like that. Not a huge amount. It wasn't a big, long series, anyway. But it was just one of those games that kind of looks good on the surface, but then once you really start to get into it more, it felt like there was something lacking. Couldn't quite put my finger on it, but there was definitely something lacking. I don't think that game actually allowed you to use hired help either. No, it did. It did. You were able to use some hired help, but that didn't seem to work all that well. The graphics, whilst they looked promising because, like, the ground seemed to be a lot more interactive and it sort of looked almost more realistic. Once you played for half an hour or so and you started looking at it, it actually seemed worse than the textures at the time in FS17, which is when that game came out. FS17 was just flat on the ground. But ultimately, when you started playing the game more, FS17 seemed better than the other one. And, yeah, there was just like a whole load of little details like that. So, initially, there was a bit of hype around it. Look at these graphics. Look at the dynamic terrain that you've got. So the tractors, that go into the mud and so on and get muddy tires. but it wasn't actually anything particularly brilliant, and it definitely wasn't enough to hold me in that game. There just wasn't enough variety of gameplay. The actual game itself was fairly limited. There wasn't the amount of machinery available to go and get. It was generally, a lot of it was a lot more limited. Now, why are you... Oh, because it thinks it's still emptying out. But it's not. It's done that thing where there's like a half a litre left in, and no more will come out, but it still thinks that there might be a little bit left in there. So we've got 445,000 litres of sugar beet in here so far, which is more than the trailer load that we've already taken down to the restaurant. And we've got room for, what have we got, 75,000 litres. There's 63,000 in the harvester up here. Approaching 60, turning round now. So we might get our 75,000 litres. We follow this one down across the field in just a minute. We could very well end up with our full trailer load before we get to the end of the field from up here. We have to drive on the crop once he's finished doing his turning round. And then we get our full double trailer load, which we can then take off down to the restaurant, tip out and sell. At least I'm assuming it's a restaurant, unless in the intervening time that we've been doing all of this harvesting, the price has gone up considerably down by the port, in which case we'll run it down to the port. But it's going to have to have gone up a reasonable amount. I suppose 10 euros per thousand? That's 5,200 extra euros for this entire load. 5,200 to go all the way to the port instead of just the restaurant. I don't know. It's the honest answer to that one. I don't know if it's actually worth it or not. Have I got enough to fill this one? I don't think I have, actually. Despite that run down there, I don't think it's pulled in 10,000 litres, which is what it would have needed. Oh, maybe it has. I think maybe we've got just enough. Oh, no! 260 litres shy. 260 litres shy of our completely full load. I'm going to run down here to this one, and I'm going to get that last little bit. And then we can take a look at the price. Actually, I'm going to have a look at the price now. I'm curious. I want to know what's going to be happening. That one's got to turn around as well. I probably would have been faster step where I was. We are, at the moment, at the port is 404. We are now 11 euros above the restaurant price. 11 euros. So it's not just 5,200 euros that we would get for our 520 times. It's actually 5,721. 5,721. Kind of tempted to fast forward time a little bit more, just as we can get a slightly higher price. However, I'm not going to, on account of the fact that that means that it's going to end up being late before we finish doing our silage, and the grass might grow, and I don't want it to. So there we go. We've got 520,000. I think I will actually run this down to the port. I think that is worth it, that extra 5,000. And the port is not that much further, and most of it is a big, long, straight run. I've just started recording again, and I have had a bit of a cold for the last week. Barely been able to talk for quite a bit of the time. Although I am now able to talk, so I'm able to do a few more videos. So, yeah. We were in the process of carting our beastie off down the road. We were also sort of working on some of this over here, but we were going to leave that for a minute. We've got other things that we want to do, and we were heading off to, I think it was the port, wasn't it? So let's get ourselves in gear. We've got the port there at 4:05 and still climbing. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, don't sit there beeping your horn at me. I had to stop and cough for a minute. It's not my fault. got a bit of a cold. Not feeling very well. Yeah? So I need sympathy, not horns. And, yeah, also, you know, when you cough a lot, when you have a headache, when you have a cold, sometimes it can sort of push a little bit of a headache. And so if I'm starting to develop a bit of a headache, the whole horn thing is not going to help either. So, yeah, Mr. Car Driver, do yourself a favour and don't do that again, or I may be forced to use the size and weight of my vehicle to force you into the harbour. Not that I would do such a thing. I wouldn't dream of it. Anyway, we are racing off down to the port to go and make our fortune down there selling sugar beet and possibly even, you know, stumble into a tavern, have a bit of a fine time, and then find ourselves press ganged into, you know, working on a sailing ship. And more than one person has gone into a tavern near the docks and had a drink or two and then woken up to find themselves miles from shore on a ship and, yeah. That's called being press ganged. They would go around and they would find the drunks and they would round them up, stick them on board the ship, and the ship would leave harbour and that was it. They were then under the law of the captain on the ship, and they would have to do what they were told. Not entirely legal, but it still happened. I was going to say a lot, but I mean, I don't actually know how much it used to happen. I know that it did used to happen, being press gang. You'd find yourself on board a ship without actually originally intending to be on board said ship, and well, not all of your dreams are going to come true when you're press ganged onto a sailing ship. It could be extremely dangerous, which is why they would go and press gang people into doing it, because people didn't ordinarily necessarily want to go onto these sailing ships and do this stuff. I don't know if it was done under a wartime thing, so whether they could sort of say, look, you have to, because, you know, defend king and country kind of situation, or queen and country, depending on the era. But, yeah. I don't know. I was just thinking about being press ganged, because we're off down to the ports down here, and it just sort of popped into my head. I'm going to have to go and research that a little bit now, you know, just to find out what exactly went on with the whole being press ganged type situation. So we'll tip this lot out as well. Helper J has a nearly full grain tank. Well, that's great and all, but I'm a little bit far away from Helper J right now, so they are going to have to just hold tight and make the best of the situation that they've got going up there. I'm sure we'll get there in no time at all. Absolutely no time at all. We'll be right on it, but we've got €500,000 now, and we have not anywhere near finished. It's another 105,000, so we've got €210,000 just from that bit. And if we go and have a look in here, now obviously more cows is something I would like. I think it'd be right. You know, very cool to have more cows. That one's 200,000. That one's 122, and that one is 99. So we're looking at 422,000 for those 3 fields. It's very tempting, isn't it? Buy the 3 fields and turn them into one big field. That's the tempting bit. Is to buy these 3 and turn them into one big field. I did want to expand the cows a bit, and we also have slight issue with the size of some of the machinery that we've got, but I mean, we're getting more money coming in now anyway, so we should also be able to take care of that little issue as well and sort of do some more upgrades. That would help us. Yeah, I'm very tempted to go and buy 3 more fields. That would also put us in a position where we could buy 3 more solar panels if we wanted to. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to activate... I've downloaded and installed the mod for removing the objects on the map, which does also work for trees, apparently. But I forgot to actually activate it on this save, which was a bit of a silly mistake to make. I did activate the Skittles tractors that I've got in my mod folder. I don't know if I've got the latest versions of them, though, because I haven't used them for quite a while. So we'll take a quick look at those in a minute. We want to get up to the sugar beet harvesters first and get them unloaded. Helper I has got a nearly full grain tank. The other dude is finished, actually. He's finished his field, so we can get him unloaded, get him moved up to the next field. We've got hay, well, silage, actually, grass that needs to be raked up, so that then we can make a start on that. We've got a truck right there coming in. Okay, we can get around that nicely. Driving on the pavement a little bit, but that'll be fine. Just hope that there's nobody actually on the pavement, and we will be fine. There'll be no repercussions whatsoever from any of that. Nobody will complain. Nobody will complain. So if I... Actually, no, I don't want to be driving down that end of the field. It's not going to make any difference, because I want the sugar beet harvester to come back down this way so that he can get started on the bigger field here. For some reason I started work on the smaller field here, and I'm not quite sure why I did that. Doesn't make very much sense, but anyway, there we have it. If that one turns round just here, we can then run alongside it and remove the 90,000 litres of sugar beet that are on board, and then we can get the other harvester up here and start on the bigger fields. He managed to do it, so we can go up alongside him here and start unloading, although he's going to stop. Yeah, he stopped before we got there. I mean, I'm too far in anyway. There, if I go like that, then the sugar beet harvester can reload and he can carry on and do what he needs to do. I will go to this one, and I'll actually take this one up the side here, because then I can sort of drive down the other side of the lorry up there and unload straight into it. And then we can move on to the next field and immediately start harvesting it. So that should work out fairly well in our favour, I'm hoping. I'm still very tempted to go all out on the cows, but I'm kind of thinking €500,000 worth of cows might be a bit... Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.